Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today we have with us the incomparable, beautiful Karen Noe, a renowned psychic medium with a long wait list of 2 years. She is a spiritual counselor and so many other things to her name. I am going to turn it over to her for a minute, in a minute. But I've had the good fortune of having attended two of her ARE events and have taken a class with her. The wonderful cards, the Angel Quest cards, which I have. I love, I love, I love. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to her and let her tell us about herself, how it all began, and what's happening.
Before we do that, which ARE class did you come to? The one with the dyers?
I came to the one with the dyers, and also one before that. It was kind of like a mediumship sort
Okay,
of
yes.
workshop. And it's funny because I thought I was accompanying a friend of mine who she and I have the woo woo, behind us. And she's my partner in all things woo woo. And she wanted to do this mediumship thing. And she's like, Miriam, just come over and we'll attend this workshop together. So,
Mhm.
okay, great. I'll just accompany you. I don't think I can do any of this stuff. I'll just come along. And there you came on the stage and you were asking us to do stuff and you paired us up with people. And suddenly I'm like, oh my God, I have to do a reading.
Were you able to do it? I'm sure you
Was
were, right?
able to, much to my own shock. But it was, the way you led the class, it made everybody feel comfortable and all that. And then you had these pictures that I remember you did this exercise that we would project things and
For the
somebody would hold an
clairvoyant?
image and then you would project, like descriptions and we had to pick up on that. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
I taught this class at my center. I'm in Waldwick, New Jersey last week, and everybody was doing great. They were getting messages, but when we did the pictures, they couldn't get them. So for whatever reason, I said, okay, we'll try another thing. And they were laughing, but
It was challenging. I remember like you had the whole group doing that and
yeah.
some were picking up certain elements, some were not, but it was really fun. I came home and I did that with my daughter.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's awesome.
She's very
So
sensitive. So I'm like,
help with
just
this.
send me images and let me see what I'm picking up. And she's laughing, like, here you go again, Mom.
Oh, and she did it with you. So that's
Yes,
cool.
it did. So tell us how it all began for you, if you
Oh,
don't
oh
mind.
my goodness. When I was little, my father used to take me to the racetrack to pick the winning horses for him. But now I'm an animal activist. I don't go to the track anymore.
Right, I hear that.
95 years old, he still goes to the track. And he asked me to come, and I say, no, thank you. But after that time, I would dream things before they happened, and I would just know certain things. Some of my friends used to say that I freaked them out because I would know things before they occurred. But about 25 years ago, I was going through a difficult time in my life. And at that time, I sat at the edge of my bed and I just yelled at God and I said, am I going to be okay? And with that, I saw a light that came towards me from the other side of the room. And as it was coming towards me, I said, if you're not of God, please leave. Now, way back then, I didn't understand of course, we're all of God and we're all connected and we're all one and all of that. But at that time, what I meant was, if you're not of the light, if you don't mean me well, please go.
Mhm.
But the more I said that, the more it kept coming towards me and eventually it enveloped me. And at that time, I heard an audible voice that said, Lucia Lucina, Bella Lucia Lucina.
Oh,
Those Italian listeners, it means light, beautiful little light. I've since learned it was St. Francis of Assisi who's been
oh,
connecting me ever since. And
yeah.
right after that experience, I started receiving messages from angels and deceased loved ones, and I couldn't eat meat anymore and all of that because I felt the pain of the animals.
Oh,
So I completely changed after that time. But my psychic abilities were greatly enhanced after that.
wonderful.
And after that experience, fast forward, I was a great fan of Wayne Dyer, Dr.
Yes,
Wayne Dyer.
as was I.
I have a podcast as well called The Angel Quest Show.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed his daughter a week or 2 weeks before he passed to promote her book. What was that called? Don't Die with Your Music Still in You.
Right, right.
So it was a wonderful interview. It's a wonderful book, and I had all her contact information. And right after, a couple of weeks later, he passed. So I emailed her and I said, Serena, I'm so sorry about the passing of your dad. Please know he truly is okay and would want you to be too. Ask him to come to you in a dream and to wake you up after the dream so that you remember it. Ask him to give you a sign to let you know he's with you. And then it's important to be patient and wait. And these signs will come when you least expect it. And that's what I would tell everybody who's lost a loved one, all of that. That's the way they give us signs. They come to us in dreams. They come to us as thoughts that pop into our heads for no reason. So, and then I added at the end, if you would like, I would love to send you a copy of, at that time, my latest book was Your Life After Their Death,
Mm-hmm.
Immediate Healing After a Loss.
Right.
So 5 minutes later, I received an email back that she wanted a copy of the book. And, so we were going back and forth, and that was pretty much it. I was scheduled to speak at an event with Hay House in Florida a couple of weeks after that to talk about life after death. And the day before that, they were going to be doing a session about Wayne Dyer. What do you call that? Just to honor him.
Yeah.
I don't know, my head. But anyway, they were doing that. So I came a day earlier and I went on the bus. There was a bus outside the hotel. On that bus were Hay House authors as well as Wayne Dyer's family. And we were going to go from the hotel to the conference center. And I was sitting on the bus and there was only one seat available, happens to be next to me. And in walks Serena Dyer, daughter that I sent the book to. And we just talked back and forth. And I was reinforcing what I was telling her. Did you ever get any signs? She said her sister had a wonderful dream from her dad. And in the dream, she actually felt her dad hugging her. She felt his hairy arms. And I told her that's absolutely a visitation from him.
Oh
She
my
felt,
gosh.
right? She felt him. So she was all excited. That was it at that time. And I'll make a very long story short. We went to the event, and right after the event, I was ready to walk back onto the bus. And I see the CEO of Hay House standing outside the bus. And I see Wayne Dyer's family going onto the bus. And I'm saying to myself, I'm so insignificant. I'm not going on that bus. I'm insignificant. Forget it. So I walked back to the hotel. I decided instead of going on the bus. And that's when I heard him and felt him for the first time. And he said loudly, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. And I said, oh my God, Wayne, is that really you? I said, if it's you, you have to give me a without a doubt sign to let me know that it's you.
I love when you say that.
Without a doubt. And we could talk about that too, because all of the people listening are receiving signs from their loved ones. So I continued to walk and I said, how may I serve? And he said, you're already serving. I said, fine. How may I serve more? So I went to the hotel room and there was something itchy that had somehow attached itself to the inside of my shirt.
Mm.
Heck is this? I reached in to grab it and there was a sticker. And on the sticker, it said W-E on it. And
Oh,
it's mean Wayne, first letter, last letter of his name. And then I felt him. And he said, is that enough? I said, oh my God, that's amazing. It's wonderful. Little did I know it was so much more than that. I mean,
mhm.
I could go into all the details, but eventually he came through for his family, through me for his family. And he also came as a group consciousness called the We
Be
Consciousness.
conscious. Oh, wow. I read that book. It's
That's what
really
was on the sticker. And it was just amazing. And for several years, he just kept coming through for his family. I'd call them 3 or 4 times a week. He has 8 children and a wife, and he'd come through for them, very specific messages. But he also came through as the group consciousness to promote peace in
Mm.
our lives and in the world as well.
You know, I remember you always stress about without a doubt sign, and I've had, of course, many examples, but one specific one. I mean, Wayne Dyer was for me, was the beginning of all of this. I mean, I had always been interested and never had enough confidence, but just was interested in this, I don't know, metaphysics, should I call it? And I remember there are just a few moments in my life that I can remember where I was at the time when something specific happened. And I remember he was, public TV was promoting his power of intention.
Did
And
you go to that?
I did not. It was on and I was watching it. I mean, it was just on. And I remember, I mean, we only can watch public TV. We don't have cable or anything like that. So it was on and they were talking about it. He was speaking and, he was so eloquent, had this beautiful voice and all that. And I was bringing something like a laundry or something up. My husband was sitting on the couch and he was talking about, I think he was saying, don't die with your music in you. And he was talking about the intention. Literally, Karen, I dropped the basket. I went down on my knees and I started sobbing.
Oh,
And it's so unnatural for me to do. I mean, it's like, it was so strange that, my husband was like, what in the world just happened? What's wrong? And I could not stop crying. And eventually, of course, needless to say, I just sat there, watched the rest of the program, and I'm like, this this is what has connected with me. If I can help just one person to feel this way, I
mhm.
this is what I want to do. And so I went to an I Can Do It conference in DC several years ago. He was to open the program. He did not come.
Why didn't he come? He was
He was
supposed to.
not feeling well.
No. Was this right before he passed?
It was, little did we all know, but he had designated Cheryl Richardson to open and she was very nervous. She's like, good God, I have to open for Wayne. And so, but after that, he passed. So I never got a chance to meet him. And I remember I had asked him desperately I'm like, I know you have a big family. I know you're doing all these things from the other side. Please, please, please agree to be one of my guides. I won't bother you as much. I was just like, while driving, just begging. So please give me a without a doubt sign if you're okay with this and whatever. And I asked for a couple of days in a row. So one day I'm coming back from dropping my daughter off, and I had asked again, please, Wayne, just so there was a car that just cut right in front of me very closely. I mean, I almost hit it. Thank God I wasn't going too fast. And, I stopped. So the car goes in front of me, the license plate, intention.
Oh boy.
I
Wow.
almost just stopped my car right in the middle of the road. I'm like,
What
okay, if
license
this
plate?
was not without a doubt sign, I don't know what else it could be. And I just started like getting all teary-eyed again. And, so I remembered you always say without a doubt sign. And, it was just,
Without a doubt. That's without a doubt. And he loves license plates because right before 3 of his daughters, it was Sky, Serena, Sage, and his wife Marceline. They 3 of them flew in from Florida. Sage came from New York to see me. And I said, oh, I started yelling at Wayne. I said, I've been doing this for many years, but I never did it for your family. You better come through. And I was yelling at him. And I'm on my way to the appointment, and a car cut me off, and it said Dyer 1,
no
DY.
way.
So I taken my phone out, and I'm trying to take a picture to show the family. I was so excited. I knew he was going to come through, but it's all blurry. Did you ever try to take a picture in a moving car? I know what it said for sure. It did come through with very, very specific messages. So The bottom line is Wayne can be there for everybody. All we need to do is ask, and then ask him to give us a sign, or the angels, or our loved ones, and they'll do it for us. So that I think that's one of my main purposes. I love to do messages, but I rather empower people to do what I do. I rather teach them to do all of this because everybody can do it. Everybody, just like everybody could play the piano if they have fingers on their hands, right? Some
Yes,
people could play great masterpieces and other people just scales, but everybody could play the piano. And the same with receiving messages.
right, right. But I guess, like um some don't feel, I mean, I've had people mention that like this is not really my calling. I would like to connect, but I'd rather, have a reading with someone who can just bring things through. And I've felt this way on and off at times as well. So what
But
would you
don't
say
depend
to
on.
someone like that?
Yeah, I would say that's cool. That's good. That's what people do. They come to see me, but don't depend on that. Like, what happens if, say they come to an appointment and then they have to come back 2 years later because they have to wait 2 years? What happens in that in between? I
Right.
tell them to ask for signs. I tell them to come, ask them to come to you in a dream, and wake you up after the dream. I tell them that we are expecting our loved ones. Most people expect to see an apparition of their loved one or hear a voice, but their spirit, they don't come that way. They may, but it's difficult to do for them. Most of the time, they're speaking to us telepathically as thoughts that just pop in your head for no reason about them.
Right,
So
right.
next time you think about your loved one or Wayne, backtrack your thoughts. Backtrack your thoughts. So if it's you, there'll be an originating thought that triggered the thought, such as you see a book of Wayne's, which triggers a thought that's you. But if you're driving and all of a sudden you're thinking about power of intention, randomly, that's him saying hello. And I
Okay.
would say hello out loud. Talk to them because they could
Oh
hear you.
yeah. Okay, okay. So have you had spirit that has basically told you that, I don't want to come through. I want to like have my rest or whatever. I'm off doing something else on the other side and I'm busy. I don't want to keep coming through, especially for those who have passed for a long time, like it's been a while since they've gone.
Well, so not all the time do loved ones come through, the ones that the living loved one wants to hear from. They are out there, they could be on another planet, they could be doing something, but for the most part, they do come through 90% of the time. We're not bothering them. Suppose it was the reverse. Say your grandmother was here and you were on the other side. Would you be upset to communicate with your grandma? No, same for them. And if they can't come through, they won't. If they're doing something else, they won't come through.
Okay. But they would somehow let you know or
They would they just wouldn't be there,
okay.
and if somebody was loud in life, they're loud when they come through, like Wayne. If somebody's quiet, they're still quiet and it's harder to hear them. If they were funny, they still do give jokes when they come through as well.
Oh, that's really fun. Okay, that's
They
cute.
have that personality
Do
as
you
they have.
also do readings with like, I mean, give messages from the angelic realm as well? Tell us
When
about
when I first received the message with the light, that experience, in the beginning, all I did was angels. It was the most wonderful experience. And then I started, I think it was the first time I got a message from a deceased loved one. It was very specific. It was something a boxing kangaroo. And I'm like, I don't know, there's somebody named Joseph, and he's showing me a kangaroo that's boxing the air. And she said, "Oh my God, that's my best friend, Joseph. He boxed kangaroos in Australia." So when I got that, that's all people wanted. She told somebody, and then they told somebody, and these are the types of messages I
that.
received. And then the angelic messages just went away. I am just recently, um, setting the intention to connecting more with angels, more than deceased loved ones. I've been booked for 25 years, for 2 years ahead of time. And now I said, okay, that's at the end of this year. That's it.
Mhm.
Know what I'm going to be doing 2026. And I'm just setting the intention for more angelic experiences and so forth.
Is this why the deck? Is this why you did that?
That was the beginning of this. That was the beginning. Yes. But all throughout all these years receiving messages from deceased loved ones, I still was able to connect with angels.
Mhm.
But people wanted to connect with their deceased loved ones. I wanted to connect with angels because there's different levels, you know.
Right.
Deceased loved ones feel like they did when they were here in the physical body. Angels feel like complete love and peace. Can
Oh,
I share a story with you?
please.
Several years ago, there was a client of mine who was she was negative. And during an appointment, she said she wanted to kill everybody and she really meant it.
Oh,
And she was saying all this and I hate everybody. And I remember during that time saying in my mind, I don't want that. I don't want that because whatever we're focusing upon grows, right?
true, true. Hmm.
By saying that, if you know about the law of attraction, now let me just backtrack. She alienated all of her family members, all of her friends. And I'm saying, I don't want that. All of a sudden, she started doing things to me. I never did anything to her. I was only loving and positive to her. And I said, what the heck did I do to attract that? But what I did was saying, I don't want that. You're saying to the universe, more of that, please.
Yes, yes,
I've
yes.
just said, just let it go. Just let it go. In any case, at that particular time, I was still able to connect with deceased loved ones, but I couldn't feel the angels because I was angry. Because you
Oh,
have to resonate more on par with the energy of who they are. Deceased loved ones, you have to raise your vibration a little bit. And then angels, you have to really raise your vibration. But I couldn't feel the angels. So I went for a walk with my dog, Duke. And as I'm walking my dog, in my mind, I'm yelling at the angels. And I'm saying, I know you could hear me, but I can't hear you. I know you could hear me, but I can't hear you. And I was so angry. And with that, I was guided to look up in the sky and I saw clouds with the shape of an ear with a finger going in it. Because I was angry, I still didn't know what that meant. So I said, what is that? That's so silly. What are you trying to tell me? And I continued to walk my dog. But all of a sudden, I started to notice the beautiful flowers that were blooming. It was springtime. And I started to notice the birds who were singing beautiful, it was so beautiful sounds. And as I got closer to my house, I started to feel the love from my family. And only then was I able to understand what the angels were trying to tell me. When I was angry and ranting and raving, I couldn't hear them
you're right. Right.
because the angels don't do that. But only when I was open to the beauty and love all around me was I able to understand what they were trying to tell me. So from that moment on, I'm not perfect, believe me. But when something like that happens, if somebody's angry, if I notice something, I just change the subject, let it go, let it go, let it go. I don't want any part of that. And I continued to feel the angels. And
Yeah.
I would tell everybody the same. Yeah.
So that explains a lot. I've been yelling a lot at the angels too.
It's yeah, the angels or Wayne or God. That's when I get the messages. It seems, it's like you're pleading with them, please, But the funny thing is, it's the opposite. When you really want messages, the best thing to do is say thank you beforehand. Thank you for giving me messages. Thank you for giving me signs. And then expect it rather than pleading. I hope that makes sense.
It does, it does. My issue has been trusting what I'm receiving. I mean, if it's not without a doubt, I like question it. And I don't always, it keeps me from even noticing that without a doubt. Because, sometimes when that comes, I'm like, did I just see that? Was that a real thing? Am I just really wanting to see it? You know what I mean? Like, I keep questioning myself. And needless to say, it doesn't help at all.
Write, have a journal, and every time you have a sign, write it down. And then you'll see all the signs that you're receiving. That's why giving messages to deceased, to living loved ones from their deceased, it's confirmation that the messages are real. You know, like a childhood dog's name or the nickname that the grandmother called them, or, you know, all these bizarre things that they come through. It confirms that it's really the deceased loved one. But when you're receiving messages from the angel, it's just loving and not just, it's amazing. It's loving and peaceful, and you feel amazing, right? Is that what you feel like when you're receiving these messages? I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have in my experience, I know you do kind of energy healing too, which I would like to ask you about. I also, I'm a practitioner of reconnective healing, and I don't do it all the time, but when I am doing, it's been the one time when I sort of get in the zone and I'm working, and all of a sudden I've had messages come through, and I've had, like with different beings. I had a galactic connection one time, which I had never experienced. And I'm like, this energy feels very different. I wonder who that is. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I felt like I'm not visual, but I can sense, I felt like the whole room was filled with this group. And he said, I'm Commander Ashtar. And, I'm like, I rarely ever get names. And I'm like, okay, nice to meet you. I have no idea who you are. And, I had to go look it up later on. It was very interesting.
That's
But
amazing.
that's when I've had some messages when I've sort of been in that zone.
That's what you take the notes down. First of all, other galaxies, messages coming from, I call them extra celestials.
Oh,
Those,
that's a good way of saying
I
it.
like to call them aliens because it sounds like they don't belong here.
Right, right, right,
And there are many extra celestials here on the planet, and they're not going to harm us.
right,
They're trying to promote peace on this planet, and that's probably what you were receiving. They're here to make sure that we don't harm our planet.
right.
So that's amazing that you receive those messages. And also, when I'm doing that, I do Reiki,
Uh,
energy healing, and when I'm doing that, that's when I'm connecting. That's when I'm into their energy field. I feel, their deceased loved ones and the angels and so forth. I just found out about Jin Shin. Did you
okay.
ever?
I've only heard it. I don't really know anything about it. What is it?
Just simple things that make you feel so good. One of the exercises, I've got this book. You can see what I'm doing here. You take your two hands and you go on opposite sides like this,
Hmm.
and you stay there until you feel the energy like move. It could be 20 minutes, it could be 5 minutes. And oh, I did that last night. I'm like, oh my God, it was like I felt like I meditated for an hour.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. So these simple things that we could do to reconnect ourselves with source, to the angels, to our higher self, and so forth.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, every time, like you said, when you were noticing the flowers and all that, which I'm sure was very joyful, that energy really just elevates me like nothing else. And
Nature. Yeah.
nature and just anything that connects with joy. Like I have two cats.
Oh,
All
I
I
love
have to
cats
do
are
is
very
just,
open. Yes.
and I know there is like there are beings in my house. I just know because all of a sudden one of them, like I think they play with specifically with my boy, like suddenly he zooms very specific spot and then he starts moving his head in a funny way. And I'm like, who is that? Who is that? But
Cats
it's
are
just funny
very.
when I watch him, it makes me laugh and suddenly I feel really joyful. I'm like, okay, whatever messages.
Are they affectionate, the cats?
They are. They are. We were very lucky when we rescued them. We had no idea, but they
Oh,
just are the sweetest, sweetest beings.
nice.
Theo and Maggie,
Nice. Oh,
their brother and sister, and the lady who had brought them to be adopted, the foster lady, she asked us not to separate them. And after she told us their story, like they were really attached. They were found when they were tiny and, like
Oh,
at some farm. I think their mother had been run over or something. And
oh
so she
gosh.
told us this story, my daughter and I, like she's a cat person. And we just started crying and she's looking at us like, what is wrong with you two? They are available for adoption. And I'm like, no, why are you parting with them after all this stuff? And she's like, I got 20 cats.
Do you have 20 cats?
No, she did.
Oh,
So
she had
this
20
is why
cats.
I put them up for adoption, like it's just too much on me and I want a good home for them and all that. So we just couldn't. They adopted us, honest to goodness.
Yeah.
They're just
Oh,
so
it's
fun.
unconditional love. They are, right? I know.
Animals.
Are they are they close by that you could put them in the camera?
I can certainly
I love
try. I think my girl is here. This is her. Oh, there she is. Come on, Maggie. Say hello. Say hello. Come here. This is my baby girl.
Oh, hi, sweetheart. Oh, she's beautiful.
She is beautiful. She was this itty bitty little thing when we first saw
Oh,
her, and she's just so sweet. Yeah. And
oh
my
my.
boy is somewhere up there sleeping. I could unplug and if you want. Do you
Did
want to
you,
see one?
to see him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see him.
All right. I'm just going to unplug and take
Okay.
you on a little tour because he
See.
loves to sleep on the bed. He's the vocal one. He's my boy.
Oh,
We are
okay.
attached. He
You
follows
have to
me
go
around
with.
like a little puppy because I think God has sent me a little puppy in the form of a cat because I always wanted to have a dog. So say hello to this
Oh,
my
is she?
baby.
He's orange.
He is. He's like a gingery color.
Oh,
He
you're
is.
both so beautiful.
They are so sweet. We found out that they're Siberians. We had no
Oh,
idea. We thought they're like maybe a mix of Maine Coon or something.
yeah,
But as it turned out, they're Siberians.
they're gorgeous and they're
They are
affectionate
sweet.
too.
They are so sweet and they're super affectionate. I mean, I didn't know anything about any of this, We just wanted to rescue
Yeah.
some kitties and we lucked out because they're
So
super.
who rescued who, right? I mean, they rescued.
Exactly, exactly. They definitely rescued us because um, we can't picture our lives without them for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me see them. They're
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you for wanting to. So tell us what's next for you, what you're doing now, what are,
Oh, this is a big year. Do you know Lilydale? It's
yes.
a place for mediums to go. I am going to be there at the end of this year in December
Oh,
for
fun.
the weekend. So it'll be all different workshops. People could
Ooh,
go to all of them or some of them and, see what Lilydale as well. I'm going to be in Kripalu. I can't even remember. If they go to my website, what dates? I'll
mhm.
be at Omega for 3 different times. I'll be doing online for the ARE.
Girl, you're
Um,
gonna be busy.
yes, I'm doing a retreat in Costa Rica.
Ooh, that's
Phil,
fun.
I know, I love that. I did last year,
Mhm.
and almost all of the people decided to come back this year. It was just
Ah,
such a wonderful experience. So that's coming up. That's the end of February to March
is
1st.
it all mediumship or do you have other things?
Last time it was. This time it's about manifesting your dreams.
Ooh,
Yeah, I know. I'm
I
really looking.
might come.
I it's unfortunately it's full, but
It's
if some
already full.
yeah, but if someone cancels, but there's all different events. I'll be doing it again next year.
Okay, okay. I'll keep my eyes open for that.
So your artwork is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
This kind of this is also one of those things. I guess I had started doing some of these, these were mine. I was just having, I'm trained as an art therapist, and I still do some artwork and all that just for me. And I had taken this fun class online with a friend of mine, just mixed media and all that, and really enjoyed doing it. As an artist, I really liked, and we decided to do this. And then I really enjoyed it. I started doing all these angel paintings for myself and putting them around. I'm like, these are making me happy and all that. And one time in my meditation, I actually heard my guides telling me, okay, make these available.
Beautiful.
Thinking, okay, I've cracked, I'm hearing things, and I was not confident enough to put my own artwork out there for anybody else. And I'm like, I ignored it. And you know how this works. Like for like weeks, they were telling me, get out of the way. This isn't about you. Just make them available. You're not even going to do anything. We'll tell you what to do. So very hesitantly, I posted one time. I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. And I said, okay, channeled angels and whatever. And I had like a long wait list forever.
See, it was meant to be.
So I guess
Just
the
the
angels
angels.
find you. Whoever wants it is like they really
Yes,
need to have it. So, and
exactly.
I just control the colors and all that. Everything else, they guide me through the process, and I
So
still do
you
it.
feel the angels of the particular person? Um, I want more
Sometimes,
people to know
yeah,
about
yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, I tune in, I do a little meditation. I have the angelic frequencies going while I'm doing this, and I invite uh, anyone of the highest intention and light to come
Yeah.
through. If somebody here has a message for this particular person who wants to be here, and I've had a lot of the actually deceased loved ones show up.
Oh,
A lot
really?
of times, some archangels, that were connected in particular with that person. I've had Mary Magdalene come through a lot, which is
Wow.
wonderful.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, different beings have shown up, some couple of times galactics, but celestials, as you call them,
Extra
uh, extra
celestials.
celestials. So, yeah, that's what's how it
We can't see them from here. Move your screen so we could see them. There you go.
yeah. These are my little girls over here. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. So it's
oh,
fun. It's fun to do the angels. I really enjoy it.
they're beautiful.
Thank you.
And so when you get a message from the angels, it's consistent. Like, do this, right? Until you do it.
Yeah, they
Mm,
just they
listen.
kept she kept doing that. And I channel a message for that person, whoever's commissioned it or has asked for it. I just, the message comes through. Sometimes there are similar messages I've had, which was really funny. I didn't remember. And I had done a couple of different angels for completely different people. And I'm like, oh my God, the message is almost identical for them. And I'm like, that's never happened before. But, you
But
know,
they're
I guess they
that's
needed to
that's
hear the
what they
same
needed,
thing.
right? Exactly. They needed that message, whatever it is.
Exactly, exactly. So that's how it's been. So, other than your website, any other place that people can find out about you and what you do?
Well, my website is KarenNoe.com. That's KarenNoe.com. And then you can find me on social media. I post all the time on Karen Noe author, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, and we'll put that, under the video when
Okay.
we post it, we'll have your information. But if there is something specific you want to tell the audience, please feel free to do that.
I think we covered everything.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today, Karen. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
I'm so honored that you made the time to be here, and want to wish you the best of luck in all the endeavors that you have.
And I hope to see you soon, maybe
Thank
at one of the events.
Yes, I would love to do that. I will look into all of them and see which one I can come to. Looking
Sounds like a
forward to
plan.
it. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.